Good day, everyone. I am Tede Dilote Jr. We are the Group 2, and we will discuss about the private self versus public digital self. But before I start, allow me to say that this is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as an educational material. So what is private self? The private self is the self that is known mainly to oneself, such as one's inner feelings and self-concept. It may be similar to or different from the public self one reveals to others. For example, private self-awareness. So this type happens when people become aware of some aspect of themselves, but only in a private way. For example, seeing your face in the mirror is a type of the private self-awareness. Private self. The Greek word for private self is idios and means one's own or pertaining to oneself. More 1984.
Good day, everyone. I will discussing a private self. Why is the private self important? Private self private self-consciousness is associated with a better access to self-knowledge and a greater interest in a new self-knowledge, regardless of the whether that no knowledge is positive. As a result, the self-knowledge of the people high in private self-consciousness play in a more prominent role in their behavior. So, the importance of private self is having a private self can help us maintain our psychological well-being by exploring our private self, and we can gain a deeper understanding of who we are as individuals. That's all. Thank you.
Private self-consciousness, their attitude are more predictive of their behavior. They are less likely to confirm when their options are challenged, and they are more resistant and inaccurate suggestion about their own sensation. Private self-consciousness also is associated with emotional experience because introspection often lead to self-criticism. Private self-consciousness can give rise to negative emotion. In addition, attention directed toward private self-aspect appear to intensity current emotional experience, positive or negative.
Good day. Um, what is public self? Public self is an information about the self or an integrated view of the self that is conveyed to others in actions, self descriptions, appearance, and social interactions. An individual's public self may vary depending on the target or audience of such impressions. What is digital self? Digital self, it is the aspects of the self that is impressed or shared to others through the use of digital technology, especially the internet and social networking.
Our next topic is public digital self. So, what is public digital self? It is a persona that we use online. Every one of us has a digital self, a mask that we put on to engage into the technological world. It is called as our extended self. It is where an individual shares things about his or her life through the use of social media, pictures, videos, online messages, texts, emails, and social media statuses are some of the factors to define our digital self. With this, we're trying we're trying out the different character or identity that is different from who we really are, because we want to need the expectation of others, the standards or stereotypes that people have set. An example of this is whenever we post a picture of ourselves, we usually edit just to make it better. And when we receive a lot of hearts or likes in our post, it usually boosts up our self-esteem. We feel more confidence knowing that we're saving positive feedback from our digital things.
So, good day. I will be discussing about the self in cyberspace. So, in self in cyberspace, there is what we call the digital literacy, which means that it is the capabilities possessed by individuals who are living, learning, or working in a digital society. So people nowadays are more digitally literate than those old generations where and technologies or social medias are not that common, not that advanced, or not that famous. So digital literacy is what we call the capabilities possessed by individuals who are using technologies and social medias. Is because without this digital literacy, a person can be possibly involved in crimes in digital society, like cyber crimes and other exploited crimes in that occurs in the digital world. So in the cyberspace, people are more willing to speak out or misbehave, because when you are online or when you are communicating online, there is no one who are going to criticize you or criticize you on what you say, what you post, what you hear, or what you express to other people, since it is online. And so you are more willing to express your emotions, your insecurities, and other negative aspects of yourself. And people are likely to misbehave since authorities minimized. That's all, and thank you for listening.
The quote basically saying that the public self is a framework of a human nature in order to hide their original self from others. It shows that human personality is different depends on the situation, which can lead to the different behavior. According to Nicholson, the behavior change in different setting is normal in the human nature. In other words, the environment which an individual live in drives them to pretend what they are not instead of what they are. This is why people hide their private self and show other their public self, which can be different for the first one. For example, people use the phrase that we can be whatever we want behind the doors of our homes. The home represents the secure and comfortable environment for an individual be in their private self. However, it can be any place as long as an individual feel comfortable with.
Different personalities of private self and public digital self. People like to show their different personalities and behaviors based on their relationship with other people. For example, private self for the ones who are close to them, and public self for those who are less close to them. Having two personalities is much common in human nature because mostly people don't want others to see how they are in private. People mostly hide their private self and show others their public self, which can be the positive from the other one. Basically, an individual only show its original self, which means private self. Basically, an individual only show its original self, which means private self, to those who he or she can trust on, and not everyone.
What is the difference between private and public digital self? Private self is the information regarding to a person which he or she has difficulties to express publicly. Public self is the perspective of other persons view an individual as portrayed in public information, interaction with others, and public action.
Between my public and private self. Responsible behavior is a high priority on both sides. Although I don't show as such emotion with my public self, I still care a lot about what I'm doing at work or in the public and what's going on around me. I communicate effectively to others on both sides. If I get to know someone, say at work, I normally remove my work face, transition to a afraid face, and share more personal information. They want getting to know my private self little more, and the same come inside for me. I also get to know little because also start to share more personal information. They type happen when people become aware some aspect though self but only private way. For example, seeing your face at mirror is the type private self.